Management plan is giving us a methodology. So now we know how to collect requirements. So input will be the scope management plan. From this process, it will show us how to collect requirements, the needs and expectations of the stakeholders. We'll take our time and collect all these ones. Once it's done, we'll have an output. What will be the output? We'll have requirements documentation. So I said the input, that's something the 6th edition does. The 6th edition is more about processes. We'll give you all the, so sometime when you have the time, I think I need to give you a copy of the 6th edition as well. You may have to go through that as well, especially for the input. So the input will be one of them will be the scope management plan for this process, collect requirement, okay? We need a scope management plan. How do we go about it? That's two techniques. We could use interviews. We interview people. We could do survey. We could use expert judgment data. This data collection techniques, okay? So that's a tool and technique. So T&T, tools and techniques. Once we have an input, there'll be what? An output. The output will be, one of them is the requirement documentation. So we have a document listing all the requirements. But don't forget, not every requirement will be done. We may have to trim them down. Everybody will be giving us a requirement. So as we have this, we need to take our time and trim it down and know the key requirement. So once we understand the requirement that we need, we will now go ahead and define the scope. I know what they need, so I can now determine what has to be done to achieve what they need. So I will now define the box, the scope, to know how much work that we have to do. If I don't know the requirement, I wouldn't be able to define the scope. So input to the process, define scope will be what? Requirements documentation. I need a requirement to know exactly what is needed, what is expected, to be able to define how much work is involved. So define the scope, okay? Once I define the scope, I could tell what is in the box and what is outside the box. So what we have as a document is called a project scope statement, PSS. So we can now write a statement for the project. What are we doing? What are we not doing? Inclusions, exclusions. It's called project scope statement. We can make a bold statement about what we are doing and what we are not doing. Why? Because we understand what is needed and what is expected. Once we know this, define the scope is big, we can now go ahead and break the work down. For example, the party, we know what we are doing, what we are not doing. We know exactly the scope of work that we have to do, but everything we talk about might be big. We are saying we'll have refreshment, we'll have music, we will have cake cutting, we'll have decorations, because we know the requirements, we understand the work. Now we need to break it down. If you talk about refreshment, what are we saying? What is refreshment? What are we bringing? What are we doing? What are we giving to the people? We break it down. If you talk about decoration, what type of decoration that we want, we break it down. That is called work breakdown structure. Okay, so we break the work down so we know the activities. If I say decoration, I could tell exactly what I have to do to get it. Decoration, the type of flowers that I need and all that, break it down so I know the various activities I follow to achieve that higher level task. That is called work breakdown structure. We'll do more details about it. Like I said, everything I'm talking about here, don't worry. This is what we'll be talking about in the entire 8 weeks. We'll be throwing more light on them. I'm just helping you to understand the process that will be involved. Then we'll validate scope is under monitoring. Okay, validate scope is more about seeking for formal acceptance of your work. So it's common sense to, at some point, seek for approval, get formal acceptance of the things you churn out. You don't need to wait till the whole project is done before you seek for acceptance of your work. So once you move in stages, at every stage, whatever is delivered, called deliverable, should be validated. Validation means seeking for formal acceptance, should be accepted, should be checked and accepted. That's validation. So the customer comes in, or you may have to carry it if you can't, if it's possible, to the customer. He checks what you've done so far. He accepted. This is good. It's in line with what I want you to do. If not, he will give you feedback. This is good, but then you work on the but. All right, then go and work on it, then you give it back till he says it's okay, then you carry on to the next stage. That is called validation. So you validate scope. You are checking whether what you are doing is what you are supposed to do. Let me say this again. You are checking whether what you are doing is what you are supposed to do. So you check it with the customer. Look at what I've done. Is it what you want? This is what you gave me. This is what I've done. Is it what you want? Then they will give you feedback. All right. The next one is control scope. As you are defining the scope, you know exactly what you have done doing the work. You need to make sure you do exactly what you are supposed to do. It says do A, B, C, D. You are doing A, B, C, D. So we are always checking whether the team is doing A, B, C, D only. Now, a person thinks we could do F. Where did that F come from? Was it something from the customer? Probably was from the customer. Customer says, now I want you to add F. So this is a change. What happens? It goes to the CCB. Customer is asking for F to be done. Now CCB will check, is it something that we can do? Then we check, is it going to delay work? Is it going to add more time? Is it going to increase the cost? We do all these assessments before we approve it. Now, once it's been approved, it goes into the scope baseline. So we added, it was A, B, C, D that we have to do. Now F has been added to what we have to do. So we redefine and re-baseline the scope. But we are controlling, we are checking what comes in. We make sure whatever we are doing is what we are supposed to do. It's been approved. Nobody will do something that they are not supposed to do. And once you go through this one, there's a term we use, scope creep. You avoid scope creep. There's a question on that. Any unauthorized or scope creep is unauthorized changes. Is not authorized. Unauthorized changes to the scope of project work is called scope creep. Creep. Look at the word creep. So you have a scope and something is creeping in. And remember, there's anything, there's a door, but you want to come through the window. You are a thief. There's a door, come through the door, but you are coming through the window. So you are creeping in. If somebody walks through the door, you wouldn't use the term creeping in. But anything that creeps in is bad, not too good. It means they don't have authorization. If you have authorization, you come through the door. If you don't have authorization, you go through the window. So we are looking at things that are coming through the window. It means they don't have any authorization. So your job as a project manager is to stand at the door of the baseline and watch what comes in. Okay, watch what comes in. So you make sure everything that is coming into the project is what you are supposed to do. For example, we are not supposed to call old students of our dad, and we see our sister picking the phone calling old students. inviting them to the party. Was that stated in the scope? No. So the project manager checks it. This wasn't done. This wasn't stated in there. So you can't do this. Who gave you the approval to do this? But let's assume mom says, yes, now we've made some arrangement. We've made some changes. We want to invite all students to the party. It'd be nice to have that all students coming to the party. So I want to give the go ahead. It's been approved. Project manager is aware. Then project manager will give that instruction. Okay, so go ahead and invite all students. We'll now go and redefine the scope and add inviting all students to the scope of work that we have to do. I hope it makes sense. I'm trying to make it quite practical for us to understand it. Then that is added. If not, it will constitute as scope creep. Nobody gave that approval. And remember this, when that happens, it will come with extra cost because it's work. She's picking the phone to call these people. Remember, it's credit. It's not part of your budget. Number two, these people will come. How your food, you've calculated the number of people you feed. Extra people, have you got food for them? Have you got the money to take care of them? No. You get it? So whenever there's a change, other things are changing. So when this one comes in, CCB will check how much cost should be added. Who is paying for this? Is mom ready to add more money to the budget, asking us to call all students? So that is how it works. Okay, so watch out for this term, scope creep. There's a question on that. We'll come talk about it again. That is done at the control scope. Protect the scope. Make sure everything that comes in is what you have to do. There's a proper approval. That is all the work we do under scope management. Now let's go to